2023. And the editorial board of the Punch newspaper says 3 months into President Bola Tinubu's administration, insecurity is once more escalating rapidly. A report that at least 23 local government areas in 3 northwest states are currently under the control of bandits underscores the gravity of the situation and harks back to the time terrorists ruled over 27 LGAs across the northeast. The Punch editorial reported that farmers and residents in 23 LGAs in Sokoto, Zamfara, and Kebbi states have abandoned their farms and communities, fleeing rising bandit criminality. This and other development reinforce growing public perception that Tinubu is distracted by politics and is misplacing national priorities. He should take security more seriously, and that is a concern of the editorial board of the Punch newspaper this morning. The editor went ahead to say, with insecurity, history is repeating itself. In the early month of 2015 and the run-up to the general elections, 27 LGAs in Adamawa, Borno and Yobe State were occupied by Boko Haram Islamic insurgents. There, Boko Haram hoisted its flag, collected tributes, taxes, rendered social services, and imposed its harsh version of Sharia law. Although these territories were later liberated, parts of them intermittently relapsed into the hands of the Islamists. The editor went forward to say, bandits and terrorists are resurgent in many states. In the northwest especially, they are striving. The editor added that the worst affected LGAs is Sokoto as Isa, Sabon, Benin, Gwada, Gbaba, Ilela, Tangaza, and Goronyo. Not only has this affected farming, the largest of employer of labor in Nigeria, and 23% contributor to the GDP. And for the editor, this is so alarming. And let's look at the mind of the editorial board in order climb. And it says, after stillborn negotiations with the bandits by the state government, all the 14 LGAs in Zamfara are under brutal attacks. The most tormented are reportedly Maru, Anka, Shinkafi, Maradu, Zomi, Guso, and Bungudu. This is a reversal of the modest gains of the past. Bandits and terrorists are also wreaking havoc in Kaduna, Niger State, Plateau, Katsina, Bauchi, Nasarawa, and Benue states. In August 2022, the editorial board recalled that the immediate past governor of Kaduna, that's Nasiru El-Rufai, revealed that bandits and Ansaro terrorists were consolidating their grip on many communities in the state and running a parallel government. And let's look at the conclusion of what the editorial board of the Punch newspaper brought up here for us this morning. And it says, therefore, beyond the pledge by the new Minister of Defense, Abubakar Badaro, to significantly improve on the security in his first year in charge, Tinubu must prioritize security because that is the supreme raising deter of government. It should collaborate with the National Assembly and state assemblies and governors to promote the establishment of state police, closely supervise the security agencies, and drive their modernization, including overhauling the intelligence services and effective deployment of technology. And those are the words of the editorial board of the Punch newspaper for us this morning, looking at how much more terrorist activities are striving in the northern part of Nigeria. And this one is titled Bandits Control of 23 LGAs Alarming. All right, you're still on to the podium here on 32 FM 94.9. And interestingly, this morning we'll be delving into politics proper and, of course, the national assignments that affect every facet of our society today has to do with the state of insecurity in Nigeria. And we'll try as much as possible to make sense out of it this morning. We have a guest in the house who is going to be doing justice to that. But before I introduce our guests for this morning, all right, I would quickly do an introduction of our panelists before we take our first break, commercial break this morning. We have Professor Remi Ayere already standing by virtually this morning. He's joining us from Kenya, and of course, he's on for us this morning. Hello, Professor. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you on this program, Podium, this bright Saturday morning.
It is really bright. I hope it's also bright for many families here too in Nigeria. Thank you, Prof, for joining us on the platform again. And how is Kenya going? All right. Prof, do we still have you?
Yes, I'm right here.
All right. I said, what's the atmosphere in Kenya like today?
Yeah, it's a very sunny morning and everywhere is bright and calm.
Okay. All right. We also have Barrister Yomi Ogunlola also on the platform this morning. Barrister, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Nigeria. And Gbolabo, good morning. I know you have not yet introduced our guest. We have a special gentleman in the room. I say good morning too. Prof, báwo ni o? Báwo ni Kenya?
I think we shouldn't change the concept of the program because some people are marginalized this morning. By the time we have this kind of language, we have to pay some bills now. We'll take this one and we'll be back very shortly.
32 FM 94.9.
bá àbára ẹni bálà ọ̀la kì í yá kankan ni wọ́n wí láti wá mú kí ìrìnàjò ayé ẹni ó yá kankan ẹni tó mọ̀nà ni ẹja tẹ̀lé ló fi jẹ́ pé gbogbo ẹni tó ń jàràn kà ti gbé kàwé tàbí ṣiṣẹ́ lókè òkun UK USA Canada Amo Connect International Limited ni wọ́n ń tò pẹ̀lú ṣé ọ̀gánilá Amo Connect mójúlẹ́jà kábániṣètò ìrìnàjò láti kàwé láwọn universities tó wà ní UK USA àti Canada with Amo Connect International Limited you will procure your admission and secure your visa like student visa visiting visa as well as Schengen visa for countries in Europe kódà àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè nílẹ̀ Arab àti Asia countries bí ẹni fẹ́ràn jẹ̀kọ́ là ń gba físà abẹ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ètò ló wà nílẹ̀ tó lè mú kí àláàrẹ̀ ó wá sí ìmúṣẹ láti gbé ṣiṣẹ́ tàbí kàwé lókè òkun visit Amo Connect International Limited Educational Consultants today at number 3 Yalap Building opposite Heritage Bank Iyana Church Monitor Area Iwo Road Ibadan or call 090-9516-9532 or 081-5071-9737 with Amo Connect International Limited. Your relocation abroad is a done deal.
bá a ṣe láwọn akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ dókítà tíṣẹ́yé bẹ́ẹ̀ náà la láwọn àwòrán àṣà mẹkáníìkì GMF Auto Services Limited bóyá ẹ̀ tí ìdébẹ̀ wò ní ọ̀jẹ̀ mọ̀ pọ́nmọ́nàmọ́pa àwọn erin lákàtàbù irinṣẹ́ ni ó diagnose mọ́tò yín kẹ́sẹ́ bí wọ́n ti máa fẹnu fapò sórí carburetor wait and get ni kò ní lọ kábọ̀ tí machine bá ti ń discover problem láàmú fix ẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ kan torí gbogbo original spare part ń bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ̀ bíbá àwọn aláràlù àtàwọn aláràtúntà gan tó wá ń kó lọ́pọ̀ yanturu ṣẹ́rí pé gbogbo ń tẹ́ fẹ́ lójú kan ló wà. Yes, so our services, the consultancy, diagnosis, key programming, transmission repair, maintenance, spare part sales, plus plenty odonge things. GMF Auto Services Limited. Pay for number 3, Oni Lane, beside White House Hotel, behind Boys High School, Labawo, Ogunpa, Ibadan. Ẹ kọ́ pé wọ́n lórí aago náà kẹ́ ẹ mọ bó ṣe wà sí 0806-634-8917 0806-634-8917 tó o bá fẹ́ kẹ́mi ọkọ̀ rí ogun GMF ni ó yàn láàyò.
My people, na your choice supermarket, Living Proof Supermarket. They salute you now with another Obonga news. Say we don't open another shop for inside Total Filling Station opposite UMC Molete Ibadan. Everything where you want buy don't there for our new outlet for inside Total Filling Station opposite UMC Molete. We don't join all other our chain of supermarkets like a former Pinnacle Building, Felele, Old Martin Pharmacy inside Lee City University, including the one way there for Bodija, and very soon another outlet go open for Osogbo for inside Borepo Chemist Yetoro Osogbo with all other ones where una sabi. Make no carry last o. Go buy anything where you need like beverages, drinks, groceries, confectionery products like bread, pastries, and many other daily needs. Remember, as you buy marketing for Living Proof, now your customer loyalty point go dey increase. Oh yeah, make una dey call this number 081-8888-7120. Shey you see now? Say Living Proof Supermarket. Now be your friend. True.
òǹwòye kan Robert Green ló sọ̀rọ̀ ó ní kámọ̀ kan dúdú kì í ṣe nípa ẹ̀bùn àbí ọgbọ́n inú nìkan ó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú bá ti lu àkókò ẹni àti àyè tá a fún ìyá ìmọ̀ kan ṣé wọn náà wá dángájíá nínú àwọn ayò bíi chess ludo scrabble draught àbí ayò ọlọ́gbọ́n á jẹ́ pé ìwọ gan lè yíwà fún. tẹ́sán àti mayas kẹsìlò sí ẹgbẹ́ bọ́ọ̀lù master 2023 ẹ jọra ṣàṣà wá gba fọ́ọ̀mù yín pẹ̀lú ẹgbẹ̀rún náírà ní 32 FM àjàkẹ́rì Cocoa House nìbàdàn tàbí kí ẹ kàn sójú òpó ayélujára www.32fm.com.ng/boardmaster láti forúkọ sílẹ̀ ẹ̀bùn owó wà láti fi ṣèfàjẹ́ tó fi mọ́ tẹlifíṣàn television rechargeable fans clippers blenders àti oríṣiríṣi àwọn ẹ̀bùn mìíràn. ọgbọ̀njọ́ oṣù kẹsàn-án ọdún yìí ni ìdíje náà yóò wáyé agogo 9 òwúrọ̀ ní Midas Casino tó wà ní nọ́mbà 44 Awolowo Road lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ Sloggers ní Bódìjà Ìbàdàn. Midas Casinos ló ṣagbátẹrù Budbusters tọdún ní ìkànnì ẹ̀dá nìkan ṣòro ló jẹ́ pẹpẹ. fún àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ pè sórí 09132100168 tàbí sórí 08152831139. Podmasters 2023 ẹ jẹ́ ká fàgbà hàn ra wa.
Gbogbo èèyàn ẹ wá lónílé, kánílé lórí ló jẹ́ wá lógún. Ẹni ní kọ́kọ́rọ́ ní ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀, lẹ́tìdí ti dé ẹ wá lónílé.
Estate Letiji Property ìyẹn Orange Park and Garden tó wà ládojúkọ Ìdó Police Station lójú ọ̀nà ológun ẹ̀rú ń bàdàn sí ń tà pẹ̀lú àwọn àǹfààní aláìlẹ́gbẹ́ tó ń bẹ lórí ẹ̀. Perimeter fencing iná ọba ti dórí ilẹ̀ ètò ààbò tó péye. Orange Park and Garden ìrìn ìṣẹ́jú 15 ní sí ẹlẹ́yẹlé ìrìn ìṣẹ́jú 7 ní sírèlúwé tó ń bọ̀ láti ìlú Èkó. àwọn ọlọ́gbọ́n èèyàn ti ń ralẹ̀ wọ́n ti ń bá iṣẹ́ ilé kíkọ́ wọn lọ ní Orange Park and Garden. ẹ̀yin náà lo àǹfààní ẹ máa bọ̀ lọ́fíìsì Letiji tó wà lẹ́yìn GTB Bank Ajibade bus stop lójú ọ̀nà Sango sí Mọ́kọ́lá ń bàdàn. kẹ́ ẹ wá ra fọ́ọ̀mù 10,000 naira tẹ́ ẹ bá ti dẹ́pọ́sìtì 200,000 nínú 1 million naira láàrin 24 hours la máa ṣàlókẹ́sọ̀n yìí. fẹ́kùnrẹ́rì àlàyé ẹ máa pè 08078748176 tàbí 08062431303 Letiji Property.
Ẹ wá lónílé o.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Just because you do not take an interest in politics doesn't mean politics won't take an interest in you.
The funds spent were properly spent because we got them from intervention funds.
You only you waka come. There is God.
I don't know which party my wife belongs to, but she belongs to my kitchen and my living room and the other room.
Stay in tune with politics on 32 FM 94.9.
It's great to know that you're still with us this morning on the podium, and it's your laughter dial, your Uma themed station, 32 FM 94.9, and the program is the podium. And of course, we're going straight into the straight talk this morning, and we'll be as frank as very possible on the program. Already, I've introduced you to our panelists who are already standing by. We have Professor Remi Ayede and, of course, Barrister Yomi Ogunlola with us in the studios. Before I go into the introduction of our guest this morning, Prof and Barrister Ogunlola, I want us to quickly look at this pump price of PMS and the projection coming from the oil marketers. Now, many Nigerians are not smiling. That's just the fact. I was coming through this morning, and it was like another public holiday, which is not like that for a Saturday. It's always a time, especially in the South, where you see a lot of people trying to get to one party, one event or the other. But it appears that people are even tired of coming out, and the road is so dry, and I'm wondering what's going on. Is the city a ghost land? And of course, this is the reality that it's dawning on us as a people. Now, the oil marketers are saying that there's every possibility that there's going to be another hike in pump price of premium motor spirit from what we have. People are buying 580, 600, 700 naira per litre. And now they're saying that the naira is really depreciated further. And now we're having like 900 to 920 naira per dollar. Now, can we manage this? Let me start off with Barrister. Can we sustain this?
Yes, thank you very much, Gbolabo. You see, it is so unfortunate, that we have to keep talking about this when we are not making the right moves at resolving the crisis. As a matter of fact, information filtering in suggests that the government has partially reintroduced subsidy because what we are currently using, according to reports that we got, the landing cost of PMS, the pump stations ought to have changed their meters. But of course, the timely intervention of government stopped that because this country would have been boiling by now. Now, I think the situation will continue to be like that, because we are dependent on factors that are beyond our control. For instance, the market forces, demand and supply, on crude price and all that. And since we have to go and refine abroad to bring it back home, there is no way that we will not be affected by it. Coupled with the fact that the Russian-Ukraine war is having a devastating effect on energy generally, all over the world. One would have thought, that the admonition that some of us gave government, that we should look inward, that government would have at least started exploring that possibility. The Chinese, when they started, a lot of people were calling their products inferior, inferior, inferior. Today, the Chinese are on the top ladder of economy in the world. And you can see with what BRICS is coming up with, a good challenge, to a unipolar world. So what am I saying? That we have our locals who are using modular refineries to produce, these derivatives from hydrocarbon. Why don't we look into it and see the possibility of improving on what they're doing? And no matter how little we can get from there, it will have a very, very considerable effect on the situation that we find ourselves in. We must find a way to bring in the modular refineries now, develop indigenous technology. Everywhere, the whole of Africa, our children abroad, everyone is screaming indigenous knowledge, indigenous knowledge. Why are we not applying that? Because this situation will continue this way until we stop doing the same things the same way and expecting different results.
All right, Barrister, you've actually talked about the variables now. You're looking at the modular refineries and you've asked questions as to why even our refineries are not working, why we do have to refine outside the shores of the country. But there's something that you mentioned that is quite striking, that there could have been a smuggling of subsidy back. And now, is that not a suable offense if that is the case? Because it's like the federal government, if that is true, is taking us for a joke. If that is the case here.
I don't think so.
Is it not suable?
No, I don't think so. Because the government occupies a very, very precarious position right now. Very, very precarious position right now. Energy crisis is one that can destabilize the entire system, if not handled properly. Well, you can see that the news is not coming out. Governments will not admit that they're doing that. But for watchers of the industry, they know what is going on. The dollar continues to appreciate against the naira, and we're buying in foreign exchange. Many people, you see, part of the examples that we gave them, look at what when the Russian-Ukraine war started, all the sanctions came. Do you know that within that period, the Russian currency was appreciating when the currencies of the West were depreciating? Why? Because Russia insisted, if you want to buy our product, look for our rupee. What's their currency? Look for our own currency and buy with our own currency. If we want to buy from you, we will pay you with our money. We're not going to pay you in dollars. We're not going to pay you in pounds. The implication of that is it will increase the demand for local currency. And in that way, push up, the value of the naira. It's so unfortunate because right now it appears the only major thing we export to the outside world is just our crude, and we're not using it wisely. Very, very unfortunate.
All right, Prof, I want to take you on another issue entirely. Now, we have a Minister of Culture, and interestingly and quite striking, she's said to be a copper. And she's still 7. And questions have been asked that are they not more bona fide people from her state? And secondly, don't we have somebody who does not have certificate controversy occupying that particular position? Why her? Some people have said, is it a way to compensate people at all costs, leave merit? What do we make out of her controversy? Because NYC has come out to say that truly she's still 7.
Yeah, I think it's not a matter of bringing anybody in order to please those who participate in the election, who supported the candidate during the election. It's much more a moral and a legal issue. First and foremost, the rule is very clear. If you did not serve when you are supposed to serve, that is a problem that you have to deal with. But going behind the corner to go and serve at the age of 40-something, it's a very interesting development, which I think will be addressed.
But Prof, are we sure of her age? You said 40-something.
Yeah,
is that not a crime?
Yes, as I've seen people looked at her CV, it's on available online. I've not verified it. That's why I said 40-something, because if you look at the various academic institutions she has attended,
right,
and you put the figures together, you know that she couldn't be less than 40 years. Now, in all those years after graduating from those schools, she refused to serve Nigeria. It is when she discovered that it's likely to be a disability in politics. That's when she now went through the back door to say that she's serving. Now, is she going to be serving as an NYSC as minister in Nigeria? That's for not even serving when she was supposed to have served, already disqualifies her morally from assuming that position of responsibility. And then, of course, because it then means that she is not a patriot. If she didn't require this position, she would never have served in the first place. So that itself is a moral burden that she has to carry. And the dignifying thing for her to do is to resign if she's really just serving now.
All right, Prof.
Really,
before I go to Barrister, it's like Barrister to want to chip in one or two things.
Yeah,
but is it not an eyesore that someone who has gone to a university, and I could remember at the Ocean too, went through this kind of controversies, and a certificate, her records, academic records are something that anyone would be proud of. Now, people without certificate, people with secondary school certificate or even primary school, looking at the qualifications of public offices in Nigeria, go into those offices with lesser certificate and they serve without anybody raising an eyebrow. Why is NYSC like an impediment to people who are well-read, people who have gone through the nitty-gritty of the educational wall, and you just say because of NYSC certificate or their credentials have been disqualified or they are not capable to handle that office? Is that not hypocrisy?
No, that is making light of that responsibility. The NYSC is a national service, so it's a patriotic responsibility.
And so what happens to somebody with SSC occupying position at the National Assembly?
Qualified to serve NYSC, so you can serve the country in various ways that you didn't feel by volunteering and so on. But this one is required by law that when you graduate from the university and you are less than 30 years old, you have to serve the country. They move you from your comfort zone into another part of the country. And many of them end up teaching in secondary schools because that's actually the idea. Even those who would normally not want to work in that kind of environment have to take all that bond because it's part of, we call it service training. It's part of education. It's part of induction into the leadership of this society, the elite class. When you don't show that level of patriotism at the age of 20-something, how do you then come out and say that when you are older, you will love Nigeria? It's a lot of inconvenience to many people. So I think it's not something that we should trivialize. It's something very serious, and that is why it was taken up, and Adio should pay the price. So she should also pay the price. And it will be a lesson to all those who have the chance to serve Nigeria and are avoiding it, thinking that they can then just come and occupy position. Is that not the same lady that was crying in the National Assembly? That she came from a very poor background. How do you then compare that with somebody who had a chance to serve the country and has acquired so many degrees and is now going through the back door to do the service? So we shouldn't make light of it at all. It's a grievous offense. It's a demonstration of lack of commitment to the country. She's only going there like Emilio to go and enjoy the position.
I hope Prof is not having political partisanship here. Okay.
Barrister was making, we heard it in the 90s when we introduced structural adjustment. This whole idea of that there's no alternative to this policy. That's part of the problem. People think that they can do whatever they like. You need to show empathy. You need to show commitment to your society. You need to make sacrifice for this country for you to then occupy some of those positions. We have people who have taken advantage of circumstances in this country and they are there occupying positions. They just think that it is for enjoyment. We don't see them carrying the burden of Nigeria, feeling their concern when things go wrong, as if this is our country, we want to build it. Instead, things are hard, things are going around. You say you are sending prayer envelopes to people's pigeonholes. I mean, these things are reckless. And it is the recklessness of the National Assembly that permitted her to pass through unstopped. Because she's not supposed to go through that screening if the screening was properly done.
All right, Barrister, before we move on.
Yes, thank you very much. Let me take it from where Prof stopped. You see, the National Youth Service Corps is very clear on those that are entitled to serve, upon graduation. As you very well know, some are excused. For instance, those who have had military training, those who have had police training, intelligence training and that kind of stuff. And those who at the point of graduation are 30 years and above are excused. They can get their certificate of exemption. Now, what really beats me is, one, this lady was nominated as a national commissioner for her zone by President Muhammadu Buhari, and the Senate rejected her on the basis of this same NYSC certificate. Now, what has she been doing since 2020 till now? That is a very, very big indictment on her. Secondly, and this is very, very serious, I have read somewhere where the incoming Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice is recommending a disbandment of DSS or whatever they are called, and of course he mentioned the FCC, but for the purposes of our discussion, the DSS, what is the function of that body? Because it is supposed to be an intelligence gathering body to assist other agencies in making, decisions for the well-being of Nigeria. The DSS was there when Kashamu emerged as a senator in this country. The DSS is supposed to have furnished the legislature. After all, they did it with El Rufai because I heard that DSS came up with intelligence reports and all that. Terrorists are having a field day coming into Nigeria from the Sahel. What is the DSS doing? Look, Gbolabo, go to rehabilitation centers all across Nigeria and see what is happening to our children. Drugs, products of drugs, drug abuse. All of these drugs are entering into Nigeria. What is the DSS doing? I think that body has outlived its usefulness. It does not know its relevance to the generality of the functions of state, and something urgent really needs to be done about it, because it is the body charged with that responsibility of gathering intelligence and feeding the relevant agencies with such intelligence. But the only time you see them showing their bragado is when they are dealing with armless and harmless Nigerians, and many times in the courtrooms, bullying innocent Nigerians. Where they are most needed, because these are areas of their competence, and the president should be very, very careful with this so-called DSS, because they are not serving the purpose for which they were set up.
All right, on that note, let me quickly introduce you to our guest this morning. He's been seated in the studios. We have Eze Vincent Harrison. He's a retired Deputy Superintendent of Police, President, Security Watch Organization. He's also a security expert and consultant. It's great to have you here, sir. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Gbolabo.
All right, I think we would have taken, I don't know how you salute in the police, but then let's quickly take this one. We have an excerpt we want to actually play now that will set the tone of our discussions this morning. And of course, this is coming from one of the commissioners of police, that's in River State Commissioner of Police, Emeka Nwonye.
Even if this fallen brother Alafuru Peter side were killed by unknown persons or other criminals, we would still have run to the police. But more tragically, he was gunned down by a police officer in this River State Police Command. As a responsible leadership of the Ijaw Nation, we have a moral duty to come before you to lay this complaint officially and to know why, after over a week, we haven't heard any official statement either from the police command or from the government of Rivers State. We are bothered by this. That is the reason why we are here, sir.
You say there was no statement from the police? That is false. Don't forget, there was no consensus by the entire police force for this man to commit that offense. And so you shouldn't be treated like police ganged up for such an act. There was no compromise. There was no arrangements for a policeman to shoot a citizen. It's our constitutional duty to protect life and property. And if anybody derails from the law, there has never been any organization in this country that has been more sanitizing than the Nigeria Police Force on its own personnel. I beat my hand to chest to that. Barely 3 weeks ago, I paraded a policeman who was caught in robbery in this command. I charged him to court, and today he's on remand in prison's custody. And if I can do that on a case of robbery, you think I can do that if it's a case of murder or any homicide is established?
All right, in case you're just joining us, this is the Podium on 32 FM 94.9, and my name is Gbolabo, Famous School. We are live on Facebook and also on YouTube, 32 FM 949 Ibadan. Our panelists are here too, and our guest is DSP Harrison Eze here. And of course, we'll be looking at former DSP of police here, and we're going to be looking at various developments in terms of insecurity in the country. And the excerpt you just listened to was from Rivers State and has to do with an extrajudicial killing of someone by the police and Peter side, so to say. And that has actually created some sort of uproar in that particular instance. But then let me start off with this, Mr. Eze, this morning. A report in 2019 by the Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, placed the Nigerian police as the most corrupt institution in Nigeria, followed closely by operatives in the power sector. What is your take on this?
I think there was a time we have looked into this issue. When we talk about corruption in the country, you will see it has no room in any particular quarter. It is something that has spread all over the system of the country. Now, the police, because they are dealing with the citizens day by day, that is why it is noticed to be so corrupt. What about those who are in the confines of their offices, embezzling billions of naira from the treasuries of this nation?
Does that make it right for the police?
No. It doesn't make it right. We are just trying to look at the percentages of some of these things that we often refer to as corruption. Now, where does that start from? The police you are talking about, maybe those young men on the way, maybe those ones that are trying to stop some vehicles on the way, get 20 naira, get 100 naira, get 50 naira from them. Right.
They don't collect 20 naira, Mr. Easy. Just
anymore.
To correct that.
Okay, no 20 naira anymore. Now, there is
naira.
no justification for that.
Okay.
There is no justification for that. But the fact is that when you are looking at the branches of a tree, look at the stem, look at the root. Where is this thing coming from? That is the truth. The fruit you see up there is just the product of what the roots are sucking up from the ground. So this is the problem we are having. All right? Every system in the country has their corrupt elements. And I want to make a little correction. It is not the police that killed the young man. It is a police officer, an erring officer. So it's not the police. It is an officer within the police that killed the man. So it's an officer, not the police.
All right. On that note, I will bring our panelists into this particular discussion, especially that of corruption. But we have to pay more bills this morning. We'll be back shortly.
FM 94.9.
130 successful Canadian visas and counting in 2023 alone. We are A3 Immigration and we mean business. A3 Immigration Incorporation is a Canadian-based immigration corporation licensed to help individuals transform Canada into their home sweet home, just as we did for Shalewa.
Hi, my name is Shalewa. Thanks to A3 Immigration, Nova Scotia, Canada is my new home.
Congratulations. Me, this message, congratulations.
With Canada Regulatory Council membership number R707544, A3 Immigration has a wide variety of expertise in all areas related to Canadian immigration. Our sister company, Bigger International Consult, is also available for your work or study needs in the United Kingdom. To get started, call or chat 0913-660-1125, 0913-660-1125, or visit a3immigration.com. A3 Immigration, making Canada your new home.
gbogbo kọ́lékọ́lé àtàgbàlékọ́ ẹ̀ wá gbọ́n tí mo fẹ́ wí àlàyé tó wà nínú rẹ̀ ní kẹ́ bá ń fetí sí. torí pàlàyé inú rẹ̀ níṣẹ́ lọ́dà bíi abc. pàtàkì lílo òrùlé jẹ̀rá roofing system ló tí mo fẹ́ wí. òrùlé jẹ̀rá àdì tó jójúlówó kì í ti ṣá tàbí pàwọ̀dà. bẹ́ẹ̀ o lè gbọ́ ṣàrẹ̀ṣàrẹ̀ òjò lábẹ́ òrùlé jẹ̀rá àdì. bóòrùn ràn minimini lábẹ́ ilé tẹ́ bá fi òrùlé jẹ̀rá àdì bu ọmọ tutù. ó tún bu ẹwà òun iyì kọ́lé tí ó sì gbé yọ sóńbẹ̀. láti wá ra ojúlówó òrùlé jẹ̀rá àdì lẹ́dínwó pátápátá. Laola Mega Top Concept Limited lasojú àtàlágbàtà kan gbòógì lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà fún iléeṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe Gerard roofing system tó jẹ́ stone coated látòrílẹ̀‐èdè New Zealand tó wá pẹ̀lú warranty 50 ọdún gbáko lọ́ọ̀sẹ̀ nílò láti dààmú lọ sílùú Èkó mọ́. àwọn kọ́lékọ́lé àtàgbálẹ́kọ́ tí wọ́n mọ yìí ń dáradára ni wọ́n mú di truck wọlé sí Laola Mega Top Concept Limited Adex Road Orogun Express òpópónà márosẹ̀ Ọ̀jọ́ nílùú Ìbàdàn ni wọ́n kalẹ̀ sí 08185481113.
Kí lọkùnrin ṣe tó bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ fà lọ́lọ́pàá lọ́wọ́ kẹ́ má bàa dáràn.
fóònù tí mo ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ rà ní screen rẹ̀ ń ṣiṣẹ́ kíṣẹ́ fún rẹ̀ ló tẹ nọ́mbà ìyàwó wọn. bí a bá ń sọ fún yín ò ní gbọ́. lóòótọ́ ni ilé ìtajà fóònù pọ̀ rẹ́kẹrẹ́kẹ́ ṣùgbọ́n ṣé gbogbo wọn náà ló ta ojúlówó. ilé ìtajà iShop gadget tí mo lè fògbọ́ ẹ̀gbá rí tọ́rọ̀ bá dọ̀rọ̀ kára iPhones Android laptop ìgbàlódé tí mú ṣe ọpọlọ yá kankan. kódà wọ́n ta accessories lórí ìrànràn tó fi mọ́ àwọn èlò ilé mìíràn. gbogbo ọjà tí wọ́n tà pátá ni wọ́n gba san díẹ̀díẹ̀ lórí wọn pẹ̀lú àjọṣọyépọ̀. kódà báyìí bá ti ra ọjà lọ́dọ̀ wọn lẹ́tùn máa jẹ̀bùn. tó bá wá fẹ́ kí páńkì tó gbé dání bá ọkọ̀ ìyàwó sójà lẹ́yìn èyí. yára mórílẹ̀ iShop gadget tó wà ní iShop building lẹ́yìn Lagos Ìkòròdú garage fanáwọlé Àbáyọ̀mí road Ìwó road Ìbàdàn tàbí kí o pe ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wọn 09014579517. iShop gadget gbogbo tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ lójúlówó lẹ́ ó bá lọ́dọ̀ wọn.
èrò máa wá o ẹ̀dá gírí máa bọ̀ o síléeṣẹ́ mi wà ń tó kalẹ̀ sójele kónílé ó gbọ́ o kálejò gbọ́ ẹ sọ fàdán kóró fó bẹ̀ pé iléeṣẹ́ mi wà náà naturalist care limited ti kalẹ̀ kà sóje. ọlọ́run ló kúkú dirí ẹwà fákùkọ tiwa. gbogbo oògùn tó ń jáde nílé iṣẹ́ mi wà ń pátá ló wà níbẹ̀. lówó tí ò ga jara lọ pẹ̀lú irinṣẹ́ ìgbàlóde lóníranran. àwọn akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ ń bẹ níkàlẹ̀ fáyẹ̀wò ara. àwọn fi tó wa létí wípé àǹfààní ń bẹ fún gbogbo àádọ́ta ènìyàn kọ́kọ́ 50 tí wọ́n bá kọ́kọ́ ń dé lójúmọ́. ẹ máa gba káàdì ọ̀fẹ́ àyẹ̀wò ọ̀fẹ́ ẹ tún máa fi ẹgbẹ̀rún mẹ́ta náírà 3000 péré gba oògùn lọ́dọ̀ wa. ẹ tara ṣàṣà máa bọ̀ ní àjọkẹ́ plaza ní dojúkọ swift oil tó wà ní tèmídìrí òjé ìbàdàn. ẹ̀ló wa ní 080-340-51533. ẹ̀mí one ló sọ wípé ní fàìsàn sọdún o.
In the words of Robert Greene, mastery is not a function of genius or talent. It's a function of time and intense focus applied to a particular field of knowledge. Do you have what it takes to show mastery in chess, Ludo, Scrabble, Draft, and Ayolopon? Then this is for you. 32 FM and Midas Casino brings you Boardmasters 2023. Pick up your form for just 2,000 naira at 32 FM 4th floor, Cocoa House, Dubai, or visit the website www.32fm.com.ng/boardmasters to also register. Cash prizes will be won, including television sets, rechargeable fans, mini clippers, blenders, and lots more. This event holds on the 30th of September 2023 by 9 a.m. at Midas Casino, number 44, Awolowo Road, beside Sluggers, Bodija, Ibadan. For more information, call 091-321-00168 or 081-528-31139. Boardmasters 2023 is powered by Midas Casino and proudly brought to you by the Laughter Station, 32 FM 94.9. Boardmasters 2023, showcasing mastery.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9. In order to matter, matters of the state must matter to you.
If some people are crying that they are in darkness, they should go and hold those who vandalize the installation.
Let me say that the political crinkle.
Stay tuned to politics on 32 FM 94.9.
All right, you're welcome back. You're still on to 32 FM 94.9, and the program is The Podium. We still have our guest in the studios. We have a former DSP, Harrison Eze, joining us on the platform this morning. And of course, he's looked at corruption to a level, and he tried to make clarity about personalizing issues within the police force. But I'm a little bit aback when you said that, because I know that when a particular offense is committed in a particular sector, it is a sector that the people will attack, basically, at the first instance, not really the personality in question. And that's why I think many people will say the police, just like the presidency, even when Tinubu is not a man who may have made some obnoxious policies or something, but Nigerians will still say the presidency is still the government that they will attack at that point. But on that note, let me bring in Barrister here. You're listening to the guests, especially his posture on instances of corruption in the police. What any other thoughts you want to add to
Yes, guest, let me treat you as a witness. How long ago were you disengaged from the police force?
That should be about 12 years ago.
12 years ago. How long did you serve within the force?
22 years.
Are you going to be a witness of truth this morning?
Certainly, yes.
Certainly, yes.
Interesting.
I see
And
that.
she knows
Okay.
that I'm going to be.
Okay, I see that you have justified police corruption on the general atmosphere within the community, you know, that because there is corruption in Nigeria, of course, the police cannot be left out. But I want to ask you this question. There appears to be uniformity in the style that is used by policemen, particularly at checkpoints, you know, when they are extorting money from Nigerians. So I want to ask you, as a witness of truth that you have said you will be, is there a particular training for policemen, you know, on this, their method or methodology of extorting money from the people? Because there appears to be a unity of procedure almost everywhere you go. The same way the police will behave in one checkpoint A is how they will behave in checkpoint B, is how they will behave in checkpoint C, which suggests, you know, that perhaps there is a special training that is given to policemen, for that. Please be a witness of truth,
No.
so that we can help Nigeria.
No, there's no training of such in the entire training processes of the police officer. But you see, evil, bad acts spreads so fast and it is contagious. Now, these things is not what we are taught in the college. It is not what we are taught in the divisions. It is not what they are trained to do in some short seminars and trainings.
Okay, so you are saying they are not so trained.
No, such training.
Now let me ask you another one, and please continue to be a witness of truth because you are going to be somebody to help Nigeria. We have heard allegations of senior police officers getting commissions, from the activities of these junior officers. We even heard of targets being set by maybe the DPO, the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Deputy Inspector General of Police, even up to the office of the Inspector General of Police, that they set targets. And these boys raised the money and they paid. Please be a witness of truth. Yes.
Raise the money from the street.
Is it true?
Such things do happen.
Good.
Let me clarify.
No, you don't need to. Let's go to my brother in Kenya.
All right.
Barrister, somebody had to tell you. Let me read this on Facebook. Okay, Babaside said, Barrister, softly. The man no they court. Please keep up.
No. I'm not in court.
So,
He's a friend.
You're not a trial.
No, I'm not
so
a trial.
I just want to tell you that you're safe.
No, you are safe. We have gotten the point we need.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Let me just throw light in some of this.
It's all right.
You see, the system has a kind of pattern. It spreads corruption. And that is not good for the growth of the nation. It's not good for the economy of the country. It is not good for our social well-being. Now, all these things are happening that way. It's not because there is a specific training given to them, but because most of the time, to those boys on the street, they are means of survival. Let me explain this. The DPOs in their different stations. Barrister, have you taken time to find out if there are impress from the federal government for them to run those divisions? That is one. Then two, I do random visit to divisions. I do it every month as a matter of duty. Now, in some divisions, I'll get there, they are working in an unconducive atmosphere, some of them leaky roofs, bad structures. Now, I was in one of these divisions one day, and the DCO 1 came in to the DCB and was telling her officers, make una repair this roof. Yes. And she said they should contribute 10,000 to fix the roof. When she left, the younger officers were angry, and I was seated there. And one of them, an inspector, said, and Unasebe could not collect bribe. Where do I come out the money to repair the roofs?
We even heard, policemen buy their boots, buy their uniforms, and all
everything.
that.
But in my time, it was not so. We were fully kitted. Let me blow your mind. There was a kitting exercise that happened last year, around September thereabout. And this kitting exercise was a fraud from the top. Some stations, divisions, got 5 pairs of uniform in a division where you have 76 men.
Mr. Eze, let me bring you back a little bit on some of the things you've laid more clarity on. Are you alluding to the fact that impress are released? Some individuals in the police hierarchy are siphoning it. Is that what it means?
There is a budget for that, but it's not getting down.
So it means there is corruption.
There
You are
is,
alluding
yes,
to that
from the
fact.
top.
All right, on that note,
From the top.
let me bring in Professor. Prof, you listened to our guest this morning. What do you have to say?
Well, I think I quite sympathize with the situation with the police force and some of the points that have been made, or the situation that he has described appears a bit familiar to me, because I've had a chance to visit a police station when somebody hit my car, and I was surprised that the first thing they were asking me was to give them money to buy paper and biro to write a statement. and other things that went on. But my really concern, my retired officer, is really that, when you have this kind of problem and it becomes a culture within an organization, it's extremely going to be difficult to deal with that. And that's why when we talk about the police, we don't look at it as the individuals committing those offenses, because we think that they are not exceptions to the rule. They are, in fact, the culture of the police. How do you think that we can now begin to address them from the level of the higher authorities, the government, and then also from below regarding the individual police officer? Because occasionally you just see the Inspector General of Police openly displaying a police officer that has been dismissed, because of harassment of innocent Nigerians, or because they've committed criminal offenses themselves. How do you think we'll deal with that? Because this piecemeal dismissal of one or two police officers has not had any positive consequences for the transformation of this culture.
Let me chip in this. I've been on the campaign of sanitizing the police system to make sure we get some of these things right for about 3 to 4 years now. These things, it is from the foundation. I want to say this. In the early 80s, there is a way officers are recruited into the police force. Now, let's look back today. Is it still the same? No. Let me tell you this. The last special constabulary recruitment that was done nationwide, a lot of flops. The present recruitment that is going on now, a lot of flops. Now, these are some of the reasons why even those young men that are just joining service, they see it that we are going to get back what has been collected from us at the point of entering. So this is the problem we are having. And those things is not within the divisions.
So are you saying,
not within the divisions.
Are you saying that, from the recruitment process,
yes,
some people extort money from cadets?
Yes. And we have investigated some of these things. In fact, if you talk to some of those intelligence officers in privacy, they will explain some of these things to you. We are not happy about that because it's giving the entire system a bad image. But I want to say that the Police Service Commission has got a lot of roles to play. We've got a lot of roles to play. And when these things are not done properly the way it should be done, we will continue to have these problems. For instance, when I was to join service, a notable personality in my community had to sign a form, an attestation to my person. Today it is not done. We pick every kind of miscreants on the way. We pick every kind of loafers on the way. Because they can afford the stipends to settle themselves, they get in.
Okay.
And today we have many on the heights.
Okay, special guest, let me bring in another issue.
Yeah.
You are somebody who has served in the police force, and I want to believe you retired, without blemish. All right. And now, taking your experience into cognizance, there have been calls for state police and all that. With your experience, do you think that call is justified? Is the Nigeria police as presently constituted too unwieldy, to be managed from Abuja, necessitating these calls, for state police? So would you put your vote behind those calls?
I have been an advocate for state police in the past 5 years now. Now, but you see, the problem we are having today...
Why do you think having state police will be better?
Thank you. National understands their terrain better than a stranger. All right? Now, one. Then two, it will give the state executive officer, the governor, a kind of hand to protect his people or her people, as the case may be, within that. Now, whosoever that is going to be the head of the state police reports directly to the governor. The CPs don't report to the governors here. And that makes it a little bit difficult for us to have proper security system in our states. So we have been advocating for that, but some of the governors too are the problem. You know what they say? We know fee pay, but they can embezzle millions, billions, we no fit pay. But they can build houses in New York, they can build houses in Dubai, they can build houses in East England, and so on and so forth. We no fit pay. We no fit pay. That has been their destiny. But the ones they embezzle can pay and pay more of those things they say they cannot pay.
All right, Mr. Eze, let me bring you back a little bit. I wanted us to finish up with corruption, but I think we'll take that because we have some of our comments on Facebook still talking about corruption, but we'll get back to that.
Okay.
Let's quickly look at the UK. The UK police recently charged Nigeria's former Minister of Petroleum, Daisy Niradi Allison, with bribery, and she's due to appear in court in October.
Yeah.
Why do you think the entire Nigerian security and judicial institutions fail to apprehend and successfully prosecute the number of big individuals in the country? Because it should be within the purview of the police to do all of this. Why do you think it's a big deal to get big-time offenders like Alice Maduike here and have her prosecuted?
Thank you. There's a learned colleague, Ogabi.
Oh, yes.
You can't law where. Now, you see...
No, but you will not be lawyer now.
We've got... Yes, okay.
Why you could go and say, we are esprit de corps.
Esprit de corps.
So you're together.
Let me say something.
You see, prosecutorial role.
We have a problem here. And what is the problem? Those boys out there, which we call police officers, are instruments in the hand of the big nuts, those who call the shots in the society. I'm the one who recommend you to be put in that place. And I have issues. It is impossible for you to come back and pick me up because Nami put you there. So that is the problem. That is the problem. If we don't take that away, in fact, let me say this, there is no institution in Nigeria that is independent.
Gbolabo, please, let me crave your indulgence. There is something trending on social media of this individual who claimed to have gone to watch a football match. On his way back, he was apprehended by the police, and he was taken into custody. And 3 days after, arraigned in court on another name, not his name. The guy claimed to have spent 10 years or thereabout, in jail, awaiting trial, of course. But thank God for a non-governmental organization that came to his rescue. So the question I want to ask, is it true that the Nigeria police, as some have alleged, do exchange innocent people for the real criminals, upon payment of the rightful money, and let the criminal go while prosecuting the innocent? Because there are so many allegations.
Yes, in my
that
time,
respect.
such thing happened. But thank God for my own big boss. The officer who was involved was dealt with and dismissed immediately. Now, such things do happen. We cannot deny that fact. Even right here, within this Dugbe, there are some, let me use the word sections that are here. Now, who caused that to happen? The heights and the mights in the society. They are still the one using this young man. For instance, today, I got to this place with a bike, all right? And I got down now. You gave an instruction. I beg, go to that Kamat. Give this young man a vehicle. And tomorrow, you had issues. I'll be there to defend you and do your obedience. That is what is the problem in our society today. That is the problem. So such things do happen, and it is not good because it makes some people untouchable even when they are criminals. That is the case you are referring to.
But then do we now say categorically that's what happened in the case of Alice Maduike, that the police could not arrest, prosecute her? She's just a point of reference.
Let me say
because she had placed somebody there.
That one don't run go long time now.
But that's just a point of reference.
Yes,
here.
let me say this.
For other big time
At the time
offenders.
she left the country, the secret might not be known to the law enforcement agents. But even if it is known by them at that time, it has not gotten into the black book of the power that be. That is just the issue.
So the police work with the power that be?
Sure.
Not based on the act, the police act itself.
Let me say this. There are some certain operations you cannot carry out without instruction. You dare not.
Instructions from where now?
Instructions from the higher authority.
From
and
above. From above.
From above. And when you do, you pay for it. I was a victim sometime, and anyway, let's put that away.
Yes, but then you can go ahead, because I want to bring Prof into this conversation. Of course, you are laying the part in which he might want to also contribute. Now, you wanted to say you were a victim of what here?
I stepped on some toes on my way carried out my constitutional duty.
Okay.
And my superior said, you know, no, that man, they put food for our table. Because of a truth. Then in my zone, every Friday, they go come. And I was detained for 3 days. 3 days. And all that.
Now, sir.
Before you go ahead, Barrister, let me bring in Prof. Prof, that's actually amusing for you, Prof. But then this is the reality of what goes on within the police hierarchy itself. What do we make out of this?
You know, there's a problem, a proverb in Yoruba, "Oloburuku pelu erin." That's what is happening. You have a situation where the ecosystem of policing itself is polluted. And a typical example is that, which really worries me, is that the current regime may be worse. There was this police officer, we all know, who has been in detention, and then now is out after a very grievous allegation concerning this kind of arrangement of working with drug lords. I'm talking about Kiari. Now he's out. This was somebody who found it very difficult to do so. Now you have a situation, even at the ministerial level, you have somebody who did not serve, being a minister, now going through the back door. So it seems that the environment is being gradually criminalized, such that it's difficult to say it is just policing that will point to. And that's why you find that many of these big men who commit corruption are never really charged and then, of course, punished. What you find is that it's easier for them to be arrested and punished abroad than for them to be arrested and treated properly in Nigeria. Now, when this president came in on board, the first visits he received were questionable visits. When people like Ibori, who have served jail time, are now the early visitors to the president, then we have a problem in our hands. So I think the example that the inspector has given, you will find that it's likely to get worse. I think we need to really take this matter seriously and dissect the implications they have for peace and security in Nigeria. Because you read the editorial from the Punch, and then the Punch is directing the president to the need to deal with security. Now, if you create an ecosystem that is conducive or supportive or sympathetic to criminality, then how can the security agencies function? So that's why I asked that question about when you have a culture that embraces criminal behavior, how do you begin to deal with it? And if the argument now seems to have moved from just the police to the Nigerian system in general. I don't know if he has ideas to give us on that. Maybe he has sat down to reflect, he has had time to reflect a great deal on some of these issues, because of course he was recommending state police. Can he tell us beyond state police other issues that he has thought about that can help us address this kind of challenge?
Thank you, Prof. There are several things that could be done if there is the political will to do those things. It is not that there are nothing to be done about that. Let me say, in the Nigerian security system generally, there has been a lot of infiltrations. Men who are not worthy or qualified to be there are there to service the interests of some certain high-placed individuals. Now, that is the one major problem that we have today. When recruitment is going on, you just hear some big guys in the society. Akim, I want to send you there. And all those things. Go there and be my representative to do my biddings and so on and so forth. And such high-placed individual gives note. That person who is a prospective recruit will take the note to the PM and some other high-profile police officers who are in charge of the recruitment. And when that note is read and evil money changes hand, that individual comes into the system without having a vision of what he's going there to do, without having a passion for the work. We are going there to get our own part of the pudding. We are going there to get our own part of the cake. And getting their own part of the cake is on the citizens and on the innocent people on the street. So these are some of the things. Now, the first thing I would prefer that we do is that there are so many of them who are illegally recruited into the system without certificates. There are so many of them today, they cannot write a simple statement in the station for an illiterate who has issues. There are some of them who are on the road that cannot write crime reports and all these things. So let's do a filtration of the system and let those ones who are the problem to us out. Then the structure of recruitment should be changed. Right now, when you have issues with murder, somebody is butchered and they want to do some kind of forensic analysis to find out, is it this actual cutlass or the other thing that was used to kill this individual? They contract those things out. Meanwhile, from our universities, we have experts. We have people who are biologists. We have chemists. We have so many of them. These people ought to be there. And those departments we put in their proper perspective with enlightened individuals. So when you have a mechanic who is serving as the divisional police officer and the man who read psychology is roaming the street, what do you think? So we have misplacement of order. The way we do things are misplaced. And that is why we're having this problem.
Gbolabo,
Okay.
please permit me. There is another trouble spot within the police that I would love us to look into. There have been allegations of policemen, renting ammunition to evil people, armed robbers, bandits, and what have you. And so far, that problem, you just hear things in the newspapers, and at the end of the day, everything dies out. How possible is it true that, we have such cases of policemen renting out state arms to armed robbers, bandits, and what have you? And if it is true, how is it that easy for them to do? With hindsight, that there's supposed to be an armory, where proper procedures should be followed if they are going to take out ammunition and what have you. How easy or how possible is that?
The Nigerian factor is a problem to all of us. I'm an officer. I'm supposed to be on surveillance at a particular place. I've signed out a rifle. When I leave the station, what I do to it is left with me and my conscience. It's not that they go into the armory and sign out those things and give to such bad individuals to go out and carry out their nefarious activities. So if there are officers who has been alleged or such speculation has been, it will not be directly from the armory to those young men. One. Then two, some of them might not actually be renting out the police firearms to those people. There are private individuals who are doing that, who have these illegal arms and ammunitions in their custody. They go to those places and so on and so forth. But if there are finger pointing to the fact that some officers are doing that, well, in every organization you will have the bad eggs. So those ones are the bad eggs within the police system. But if such is proved and how do you say it in law? If it is confirmed that there are certain individuals and they are apprehended, the law should deal with them.
Prove beyond reasonable doubt. Okay.
Beyond reasonable doubt.
Okay.
Let should deal with them.
Let's look at this psychological issue, the mental health of an average police officer in Nigeria. Now, trigger-happy police officers in Nigeria have been connected to several killings of unarmed Nigerians. Yes. Does the Nigerian police force carry out a psychotherapeutic screening before the engagement of officers, or why do you think this phenomenon still prevails?
Let me say this. I think I've said it somewhere some time ago. You see, the working condition of the younger or junior officers is terrible. And as a result, mentally they will be imbalanced.
Not that they are under the influence of a drug or
substance. That may be. That may be somehow. But the major thing is that the working condition is so bad that a policeman who is not earning up to 42,000 will make his pair of uniform that will cost about 22,000. So with what? So these are some of the things. Now, I did a documentary of some certain divisions within Oyo Command here of the kind of places these officers who you expect their brain to be correct while they are doing their work, where they are living. Where they are living. So they wake up in the morning with a disorganized mind. They wake up in the morning with psychological imbalance. And they'll be heading to office to deal with people. So in most cases, you see that these officers are actually transferring aggression of what is happening to them within their service.
And they are being given a rifle.
And they are being given a rifle. That is what. Then two, you see, let's say the fact here. Today I'm not on uniform. I am ready to face whatsoever. The truth is that from the top, the younger officers are oppressed. The Nigerian police system has gotten so bad. Thank God I'm not there anymore. I left voluntarily and I am happy today. Now, it's just the same thing with the way it is now in our society. Let me make this reference. There was a particular IG that was coming to visit a particular state command. Let me keep those as secrets. And the CP of that state command had to tax every division 30,000 for the entertainment of the IG. And in that state, we have about 70 divisions and some other sections and police posts within that state. Now, let's assume there are only 70 of those divisions, full-fledged divisions, and 30,000 from each of them. That is 2.1 million. Just because the IG was visiting that command. Now, these are some of the things that a lot of people don't look into. That is one. Then two.
All right. Mr. Eze, I'm sorry to butt in. We have to pay more bills. So we'll be back very shortly with more revelations. All right, let's take this break. We'll be back shortly.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
In the words of Robert Greene, mastery is not a function of genius or talent. It's a function of time and intense focus applied to a particular field of knowledge. Do you have what it takes to show mastery in chess, Ludo, Scrabble, Draft, and INT'L? Then this is for you. 32 FM and Midas Casino brings you Boardmasters 2023. Pick up your form for just 2,000 naira at 32 FM 4th floor, Cocoa House, Dubai, or visit the website www.32fm.com.ng/boardmasters to also register. Cash prizes will be won, including television sets, rechargeable fans, mini clippers, blenders, and lots more. This event holds on the 30th of September 2023 by 9 a.m. at Midas Casino, number 44, Awolowo Road, beside Sluggers, Bodija, Ibadan. For more information, call 091-321-00168 or 081-528-31139. Boardmasters 2023 is powered by Midas Casino and proudly brought to you by the Laughter Station, 32 FM 94.9. Boardmasters 2023, showcasing mastery.
It's time again. Àkókò ti tó láti rìnrìn àjò lọ sí ilẹ̀ mímọ́ Jerusalem pẹ̀lú iléeṣẹ́ You Fit Fly àti Gospel Vibes Limited. You Fit Fly presents 2023 Holy Pilgrimage to the Holy Land of Jerusalem. Lọ́tẹ̀ yìí, Màmá Ajínrere Tọ́pẹ́ Àlàbí láwùjọ máa rìnrìn àjò yìí pọ̀. Òjò ìbùkún yóò rọ̀ bí gbajúgbajà olórin ẹ̀mí ni yóò ṣe máa fi orin ẹ̀mí fa agbára Ọlọ́run sọ̀kalẹ̀. Àkókò rèé fún ọ láti jẹ́rìí sí agbára Ọlọ́run. You will be blessed with abundant testimonies with the ministration of Evangelist Tọ́pẹ́ Àlàbí láti ọjọ́ kẹsàn-án títí di ọjọ́ kẹrìndínlógún oṣù kẹwàá ọdún 2023 láò fi wà ní ilẹ̀ mímọ́ Jerusalem 9 to 16th October 2023. You can trust You Fit Fly with your dream journey to Jerusalem. We are located at Block 8, Plot 15, 7 Up Road, Oluyole Main Estate, Ring Road, Ibadan, 0901 111 1190. Or visit our website at www.youfitfly.com. Jerusalem Pilgrimage 2023, organized by You Fit Fly. Wá kí wọ́n náà jẹ́rìí sagbára Ọlọ́run.
Wá mọ bó ṣe ń lọ.
Lágbo eré ìdárayá nílẹ̀ yìí àti nílẹ̀ òkèèrè.
Ẹ máa gbọ́ Sporting Crystal àtàwọn olùkú rẹ̀.
Láago 5 sí 6 àrọ̀lẹ́ lójoojúmọ́.
Àtàgò 1 sí 3 ọ̀sán lọ́jọ́ àbámẹ́ta. Ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ míì sí ẹ̀.
Ege! Ṣẹ̀mí bí olóògùn ọ̀rẹ́.
Ìjà òdọ́là lètò tó yanjú àwọ̀.
Láàrin Mùtúmùwà.
Tóbi lọ́ba Ògúnṣínà wọ̀kìlúmọ̀ látọ́kùn ètò.
Láago 11 àárọ̀ lọ́jọ́ Ẹtì àti àbámẹ́ta.
Òǹwòye kan Robert Gray ló sọ̀rọ̀. Ó ní ká mọ̀ nǹkan dúdú kì í ṣe nípa ẹ̀bùn àbí ọgbọ́n inú nìkan. Ó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú bá a ti ń lo àkókò ẹni àti àyè tá a fún ìyà ìmọ̀ kan. Ṣé wọn náà wá dángájíá nínú àwọn ayò bíi chess, ludo, scrabble, draught àbí ayò ọlọ́gbọ́n? A jẹ́ pé ìwọ gan lè yí wà fún. Tẹ́sán àti Midas Casino ti jẹ́ pẹpẹ bọ́ọ̀lù Masters 2023. Ẹ jọra ṣàṣà wá gba fọ́ọ̀mù yín pẹ̀lú $2,000 ní 32 FM Àjàkẹ́rì Cocoa House Nìbàdàn tàbí kí ẹ kàn sójú òpó ayélujára www.32fm.com.ng/boardmaster láti forúkọ sílẹ̀. Ẹ̀bùn owó wà láti fi ṣèfàjẹ́ tó fi mọ́ tẹlifíṣàn, rechargeable fans, clippers, blenders àti oríṣiríṣi àwọn ẹ̀bùn mìíràn.
Ọgbọ̀njọ́ oṣù kẹsàn-án.
Ọdún yìí ni ìdíje náà yóò wáyé agogo 9 òwúrọ̀ ní Midas Casino tó wà ní number 44 Awolowo Road lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ Sluggers ní Bódìjà Ìbàdàn. Midas Casinos ló ṣagbátẹrù Boardmasters tọdún ní ìkànnì ẹ̀dá nìbọ̀ṣọ́lú ló tẹ́ pẹpẹ.
Fún àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ pè sórí 09132100168 tàbí sórí 08152831139.
Boardmasters 2023 ẹ jẹ́ ká fàgbà ara wa.
Lórí ètò Òkè Ìbàdàn lẹ́yìn tí máa pàdé.
Àwọn èèkàn aláṣeyọrí ọlọ́lá.
Tí Ìbàdàn ti gbè ní Tèmiládé Àlòkò.
Yóò máa fọ̀rọ̀ jẹ̀wọ́ pẹ̀lú lórí Òkè Ìbàdàn.
Òkè Ìbàdàn.
Ìbàdàn á gbè wá o.
32 FM 94.9.
When the people became silent,
The government became oppressive. It's time to lend your voice to politics.
On 32 FM 94.9.
All right, you're welcome back from that commercial break, and you're still on to the podium here on 32 FM 94.9. We've been speaking to former DSP Eze Harrison with us in the studios this morning, and our analysts too, our panelists have also been in the studios talking about Barrister Yomi Ogunlola and of course Professor Remi Ayede. I'm Gbolabo Famous School, and we still have former DSP Harrison Eze with us in the studios. All right, you were actually making some revelations before we went on that brief commercial break, and you were hitting at a point. Now, you talk about how suppressive and how oppressive the system is within the police hierarchy, and how the junior officers have to bear the brunt. And you're thankful that you're not even in the service again. Now, can you tell us more? Can you lead us further on that line of thoughts?
Okay. Let's take it from the top. The IG is the Oga Patapata of them all. It's so funny that from the top there are expectations from the CPs. From the state there are expectation from the
targets.
DPUs.
You're looking at targets.
Not really target. Okay. How loyal and compensatory they could be from their offices to the higher office. All right? So that is the problem we are having today. And I said, why are these things like this? Why are these things like this? And I discovered that in the Nigerian system, we don't have those who watch those that are watching others. That is the problem.
Who polices the police?
Yes, who polices the police? We don't have those that are watching others. We don't have it. But in every developed economy, we have them. Some of them are private organizations.
Isn't it part of the responsibilities of the legislature, their oversight functions? Are they not supposed to play a part? You know,
they are supposed to play a part on the passive. They are not given a kind of power to execute those things. So theirs is on the advisory level to the systems. So, but in some other crimes, you have an established private organizations who are saddled with the responsibility of doing some of these things, you know, because the system might not be able to see all. So some of those things, and when you are coming up with those things, you come up with facts, you know, that are proved so that actions will be taken on them. Now, we don't have such system here. And that is one of the undoing of every organization in the country, not only the security outfits.
Mr. Eze, are you alluding to the fact that psychotherapeutic screening needs to be done for every police officers that are going to be recruited? Now, you also agree that some of these officers could be under the influence of whatever, drugs, toxins. Now, how do we address that? Because there should be some sort of riot act that should be read to an average person going to man a police point or a police hierarchy or a particular position before allowing that person, for instance, into a uniform. That person will wear a uniform, which is the identity of the police of Nigeria, and secondly, will be given a rifle. Is he accountable to some of these things, his actions, and also the things given to him to serve in the police itself?
Let me start from the point where we should commence all these things. Now, the psychotherapy test, every kind of psychological screening should be at the point of entry. There are so many of them. Now, let me give you an example. In my time, far back in the 80s, we had an underheight who was in the college with us. It is still the same officers who are training us that gives signal to the underheights to escape from the parade when the CP on parade is coming. So what do you make out of that? So many structures are encouraging some of these things that is going on. It is, they saw it somewhere and they picked them up. Now they have done it to the extreme. They've done it to the extreme. So I want to say that all those screening and all those tests should be done at the point of entering. That is one. Then two, a kind of thorough medical screening should be done. You know, when somebody takes cannabis, it stays in the body for 72 hours. Yes. If you didn't take another one, the one you took will stay inside your body for 72 hours actively. Now, it will only leave traces in your blood system and so on and so forth. So if this screening are done, you will be able to detect those who are into drugs, those who are into taking some of these substances, which is not good for such individual to be involved in the activities of policing people, in the activities of protecting lives and properties. They should not be involved. So we lay them off. There are so many other clean, decent individuals who are not able to afford the illicit monies that are collected before they are enlisted into the system, who are not able to afford it. And they are not there.
All right, let me go back to Prof very quickly. Prof, you heard all what we had our guests say, so to say now. What's your reaction to this?
Well, I'm just thinking that he has actually brought the institutional dimension to this discussion, which is extremely very important. Because we also need to create a structure that will be non-police based, that will have to deal with the question of this problem of policing. Because I noticed that the Police Service Commission recently brought out some numbers and set up a team that would receive complaints from the public. And there was also a debate around whether the Police Service Commission should be headed by a policeman or a former policeman. So these are the issues around this institution. What is his thought about this too? Setting up a non-police-based organization, including civil society, like a body that is independent, you know, to deal with police issues, or in fact convert the Police Service Commission to a body that is not occupied by police officers or former police officers, but are responsible for checking the SSs of the police.
All right. I would suggest that any organization that is going to do that, number one, must be on the voluntary level, must be non-governmental, and must be non-profit organization. When we do it in that manner, you will find men who are ready to serve to sanitize the system there. Once there are incentives within that office or that organization that is set up, the whole thing will begin to derail. So let it be a voluntary individuals. Let it be on volunteer basis if we are going to set such up. But let me tell you the truth. The man will carry cutlass, not they allow somebody with jackknife go to his back. So these things might not easily be put in place because this corruption and all these things we are mentioning are not actually the ones we see in the public. They are not the ones we see in the public. In fact, I don't see the usefulness of the Police Service Commission. I don't see their usefulness. Have anybody queried them what is done with the huge budgets for the police unit every year? Have anybody queried them? Now, some of the things that they are meant to do for the officers for their welfare, are they done? And that is the thing.
All right, Mr. Eze, we have to open the phone lines right about now.
But just before that, I think for the benefit of the Nigeria police, if the people are listening to us, the suggestion made by Professor Ayede now is one that we can also embrace. You see, because this happens in America, that police officials, like groups, are given specific, duties monitoring the police. For instance, we have one they call Bad Apple, a collaboration between Privacy and the Aaron Swartz Day, whatever. It's just a private organization. We have a coalition against police abuse. We have Committee Against Anti-Asian Violence and so many other groupings like that.
All right, Barrister, we'll get back to that. Let's quickly reel out the phone number so that we also have our listeners participate in this conversation. The numbers are 070-55,949 and for international audience, +234 90 62,949. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, I'm Jerry from Mokola.
All right, please go ahead, Jerry.
Sorry, I'm a little bit confused about requirements for being a minister in Nigeria and for being a president. Why are they requesting for NYC and a senator who present WAHEC? I don't really understand the disparity or the cheat in it.
Okay.
The president will use a WAHEC certificate and they will be asking for NYC certificate for a minister. Why is it like that? The woman in question, the lady in question, why is she rushing to go and serve instead of collecting discharge certificate? That is my contribution.
All right.
Please,
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much.
Question.
I think in answering your question, the Constitution is very clear on the requirement of aspirant to the office of Mr. President. At least make sure say you go secondary school. It doesn't even matter if you have certificate. But you see, I think it is for the position of those where NYSC certificate is being demanded. If you have brought yourself, as a graduate of a university, of course, then the necessity for your NYSC certificate becomes imperative.
All right. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. We can hear you loud and clear. Your name and where you're calling us from. All right. The numbers are still 070-55,949 or +234 90 62,949 for our international audience. And Mr. Eze, let's quickly do a breakdown of what junior officers in the police receive as salaries. It shows that a sergeant gets 55,973 naira, a corporal 51,113 naira 60 kobo, and a constable 51,113 naira 60 kobo. With the current economic realities, doesn't this amount to playing kids' glove with the nation's internal security if you could pay them this poorly? And these are the men who carry rifle, stand on the road and the checkpoints.
All right. There is one thing I want to make us understand. Even this quoted amount, does it get to them?
Are you?
It doesn't really get to them.
Are you serious?
Does it get to them?
Their salaries?
Does it get to
I think
them?
we have a caller.
All right, we'll take this one, but that is quite alarming. Okay, hello, good morning. Yes, please go ahead, Charles.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Charles. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Sanyo.
All right, please go ahead.
I want to know what if setting up an external, organizations to, to check the activities of the police system. What assurance do we have that they won't go behind them, or maybe go and threaten those guys? Don't do anything that we don't have to do or anything like that. What is the assurance? They might go and just threaten these guys that voluntarily settle down themselves to actually work for the Nigerians. So what's the assurance that the police will not go behind and threaten these guys? That's my question.
All right. You were actually going to make a point, Mr. Eze, before we have that call. We'll get back to what Charles has asked. What are you saying? That monies that have been earmarked for police officers to get at their junior level posts are not being given to them? Then what happens to the monetization process? So what is the essence of the IPPIS?
Is their salaries not paid directly into their accounts?
I'm wondering, that's what I'm saying. The IPPIS, the monetization
Exactly.
policy of the government, is it all shrouded in secrecy? What's going on here?
Let me say this clearly. There are several deductions, including the contributory pension, that makes it impossible for them to get exactly what you are seeing there. The contributory pension and other deductions. So at the end of the day, the young man who is receiving 51,100 and something naira may get less than 45,000. Out of that 45,000, with the current situation of things in the country, transportation and so on and so forth, 30,000 is going in for transport.
Yeah, so what is the implication of this? Their rifle is their meal ticket. Is that what it means?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Don't go to that end.
Because that's I'm wondering.
I want us to reason.
Okay.
And to see that these young men we accuse daily that they are going through here too.
There's even another issue, Gbolabo, that I want us to also look at. We have seen situations where police lose their lives, in the course of duty, and many times you find that their dependents are forgotten by the police. Isn't there a systemic, arrangement within the police force to take care of incidents like that?
Let me explain this, because the man where don't climb mountain, you go see plenty thing past the people in the valley. Now, you see, generally...
Sorry, Mr. Eze, we have a caller here. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
We are having feedback from your end. Can you turn down the audio level on your device? All right.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's the name and where are you calling us from?
Yes, my name is Peter. I'm calling from Ibadan. When you mentioned psychotherapy test,
screening itself, yes.
Yes, I most of these organizations, I think for you to, if it's not a junior settings, if you're coming into maybe you're the senior, whatever, you have to come in through slot. And maybe doing the medical test, and the individual was detected. Drugs was found in him, and they report him back to the person that he came into. See, in Nigeria, anything is possible. The man can as well be like, okay, no, don't worry. I brought in somebody and you're trying to reject him. No. Come on, accept him. I will talk to him. The guy will change later. It is always like me. I believe if we, aside all these corruptions that Nigeria is all about corruption. But if what the issue, I think it's about colonialism and imperialism. Yes, if all these Western powers, if they can bound, if all these politicians can bound, if they can bound all anyone who has who have occupied a political office in Nigeria or Africa from coming to their countries, that is the only way they can help us. If they can succeed in that, they can help us so that they would have to rebuild their own country.
All right,
Thank you very
Peter.
much.
We must say a big thank you for dropping that in. Quickly, let me go through Facebook. We also have some comments on Facebook. Francis Orok says, listening to the DSP this morning further illuminates the systemic corruption Nigeria grapples with. But worse, it brings further confusion to preferring answers to the questions where, when, and how to we begin to change these things. All right, that's a question. Corruption in Nigeria is endemic, and that is coming from Omotai Oluwarotimi Onobamiro. Okediro Babatunde, okay, this is charging barrister to defend the guest when he's invited from the top hierarchy after this program. Truth is bitter, he says that. All right, let's look at more from here. Abayomi Ibitunde says, we don't have those that are watching others. We don't have people policing the police. Okay, what a line. All right, we'll take this one too from Omotayo Oluwarotimi. He says, people watch others in Nigeria. There is no need for any monitoring system because that would also be corrupt. Even people need mind education to change their way of thinking. Quite instructive one comments there.
As a matter
on
of
Facebook.
fact,
Okay.
Gbolabo, there was also this caller that called in about this policing the police. That the fear that probably they could be attacked. You have Huriwa, you have SERAP, you have some of those
The Human
organizations.
Rights Organization.
Exactly, that are already doing something along that
We have a caller here. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Gbolabo. Please, I want to ask the guest.
Can we have your name, please, and where you're calling us
where
from?
we can report. I am Jerry from Okola calling again.
Okay.
Is there any institution or where we can report police officers? I think there should be an institution meeting them where we can report them to, because if the complainant goes to them, they will just go straight and arrest the defendant and lock him or her up for like 2 days and be collecting bail. And lawyer, please, and our former DSP, please, I want you to form a pressure group. Let us join the group, please.
All right, that's serious.
From this situation, we have to.
All right, Jerry.
Now you
Jerry,
go bring finance.
spot.
So
You're putting them on the spot. And I wonder what the name of the pressure group will be called. A combination of barrister and former DSP.
No,
coupled with Professor Ayede.
Ayede.
Wow, what a bomb.
Look, it's very easy. Just bring finance. Just bring the finance.
Well, we are trying to fight corruption here.
We're not giving
Gbolabo was all right.
In as much as
Prof is saying something.
we don't want to trivialize this issue. But let's go to Professor Ayede. We didn't forget you. All right, please go ahead, Prof.
Actually, we're talking about volunteerism, and Barrister is talking about the finance.
Now we don't get it. All right, let's quickly also look at this. Okay, we have a caller here.
Try your skill.
Okay. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, all.
Good morning.
Yeah. This is Maruf calling from Oyo.
All right, please go ahead.
Just to buttress the point made by the last caller, it's the high time we have some non-government organizations rising up to defend our citizens. By the time those people rise up and then take up litigations against the police, at least, and then they pursue to definite point in the court of law to have those police offended, to get them punished. That's when we see improve our police system. Thank you very much. No?
All right, thank you so much for dropping that. I want us to also look at the EFCC. The EFCC has been prosecuting Kenny Martins, the coordinator of the Police Equipment Fund, PEF, for 15 years, and with no conviction in sight. Can the policing system in Nigeria ever be sanitized? And how can the force be respected without effective punitive measures for lawbreakers? Now, it's quite striking that we have that of Kenny Martins for a very long time. And it has to do with Police Equipment Fund. Now, if you look at the crisis that is happening in the country in terms of insurgency, one would have thought that the police should be at the forefront and not even the soldiers, because this is more of an internal crisis. But we have the soldiers who is supposed to protect our external boundaries are the ones doing the internal work for the police officers. And then the question is that we are not equipped, we are not well paid. And that's the thing the police have been saying for a very long time. Now, we know that the police also play some prosecutorial role when it comes to the issue of crime. Why is it that this has been there for long and questions heads are not rolling with this Kenny Martin's PEF instance for a very long time? And the police still today is still complaining that they are not well equipped with sophisticated weapon compared to what the insurgency go around with.
Let me throw light on some of the things that are hidden to us. Who is Kenny Martins?
Right.
Barrister, who is he? Where is he coming from? How did he get to the point of having access to the funds for police equipment? Now, these are the questions.
The Nigerian factor.
Who is he fronting for? These are some of the questions that sometimes we do fail to ask. Then, when there is a huge crime like that, I want you to know that there is a long queue of those who shares the booty. Not only that man who is on the spotlight of the crime. Right? So, that is why in Nigeria, to tackle corruption, you have to spill your blood in doing it. Because our corruption system, let me call it a system, is like that of a cartel. They are into every system. And when it comes to doing that evil, they form a synergy. I follow chop them on you. Oh yeah, okay. This man must not go down. Because so that is the problem. That is the problem that in the past 15 years, the issue of Ket Martins and the police equipment fund and so on and so forth is still lingering there. It's still lingering there. And in our system here, we don't have continuity. When the CJN leaves office and another one comes in, the person that brought him will tell him, see this matter, don't they ground, no pull leg there. Now that is the problem. So who is this guy? Where is he coming from? Who is he fronting for? That is the way things happen in our government.
Okay, now before we close up, because we don't want the police to think we are their enemies.
Yeah.
We still believe we can be friends, even though we are not friends. We are not friends now. Nigerians don't agree to be friends. No, you are not retired now. So that they don't think we are not their. We don't want to be their friend. We want to be your friends, even though we are not friends yet.
Okay.
The way you are treating Nigerians, but we will continue to look for your own welfare too. Sure. I still want you to touch on the issue of. The dependence of policemen in the event of an accident where they lose their lives, because there have been so many stories of such where after a policeman dies in the course of duty, he is abandoned by the system. Isn't there a systemic arrangement to take care of these things? I asked the question before, but Gbolabo came with another question. You missed it, so I want us to go back there.
There are some things I want to explain. You see, when there are work principles, provisions for your profession, it is not those who wrote those things down that implements it. It is in the hand of those who are in position to implement it to do it. Let me give you an example. You see, there are so many things we should take out of the police system if we want this thing to work. If we don't take it out, it may not work well. And that is one who know who. If we don't take it out, things will not work well. Some years back, when that Ojo roundabout was being constructed, I don't know if any of you heard of that incident, that some hoodlums attacked the police officers that was escorting the bullion van to that point to pay those casual workers there, and about 8 of them were killed. Now, do you know, one of those officers whose elder sister too is serving in the police was very close to me. At the end of the day, it was said that they went for an illegal operation, service, and their dead bodies, their corpses were dismissed. And now ask the question, how did they move with the police patrol vehicles.
Without authorization.
How? How did that happen? From which division? From which section? From where? From which command? Who is in charge of those vehicles that moved such number of police officers to go and do escort job to that place? And they said it was an illegal. And their cops were dismissed. Now, these are some of the harrowing experiences of these young men.
What about those police officers who carry umbrellas for politicians' wives in the markets? Are they detailed by the authorities to do that?
You see, one thing is this. Like in the division in your area, if you write to the divisional police officer that you will need the service of so and so and so, and that letter of that application gets to his table, he looks into it. Say, Oga, put something for table. We've had that number of times.
So the upper echelon of the body will not be aware of it.
Our time is actually fast spent. Let's go to the solutions now. Let me quickly get back to Prof. Prof, what do you see as a timeline, or what do we need to start doing, putting our guests into proper perspective on solutions to all of these instances? We've highlighted the problems within the police, and majorly it has to do with corruption and the systemic failure in the country. But how do we put our guests in proper perspective here? Let me get back to Prof.
I think we have talked a lot about policing the police. What we are on now is how do we improve the terms and conditions of service of the police? Because if you look at the pay rates, the environment in which they work, the risks that they bear, you know that it's not a funny thing to remain patriotic if you have to work under those conditions.
All right, we have to go.
Yes, what is the suggestion? Yeah.
Okay, please go ahead, Prof.
No, I was already putting the question to Harrison here. Given all of these conditions, how do you think that the condition? Because sometimes the police can't go on strike. Remember that?
Yes.
And they have threatened to go on strike several times. So what is it? And then there was a time they say, okay, they removed them from the IPPIS. That there are certain special salary scale they are given. I don't know what is actually the situation and why has things not changed.
There are so many things that we read on newspapers as in being new policies and so on and so forth. But the question is this, especially those in the legal community, how much pain did you take to go and verify and find out if those things are actually being implemented? Now, for newspaper, we read some of these things. Gbolabo will tell us on news that this and that and that, but nobody cares to find out if those things we heard are actually the true state of things.
No, I think the underlining point, Mr. Eze, is how can the police force be more responsible?
The police force?
Yes, the police itself.
Yes,
and how can its welfare be taken care of?
Thank you. Let me say this.
Things
Number one,
that needed to be done?
Let the government improve the welfare of the police. Let's start from their residents. Let's start from other amenities. Now, I was supposed to join a particular country police when I left work here, but for some certain reasons, they said I had a bad record while I was in secondary school, all those things. They went as far as that. Now, what I'm trying to say is this. Let us redesign the welfare of the police. We know what their mates who are in the banking industry are earning. We know what their mates that are in different sectors are earning. We know it. And these men put their life at risk to do some certain things. For instance, let me tell you this. There is hardly any division today that has a proper working operational vehicle.
Now, I raised the suggestion some time ago that the minimum qualification for entry into the police should be made a university degree. What do you think? Because perhaps government is looking at them that these are the dregs of the earth. Like we said, some don't even have certificates. So probably that is why they are treating them anyhow.
Today there is police academy in Kano. Okay. I think in Biu also in Kano.
Okay.
Today there is other police institutions
that
have specialized training for police officers equivalent to your degree certificate from the universities and polytechnics. So if we should do that, it will be good. We have people who are thoroughly and properly trained, academics and others.
Exactly.
But it will still take us some time, because even those institutions are expensive for the masses to afford. They're expensive.
What is the present strength of the Nigerian police?
We have to go. We have to go. Our time is actually fast spent. But let's make sense out of all what you said today. What is the bullet point? Just in one word, how can we have succor in the country in terms of security? We've been having terrorism and the rest of it. And how much more role can the police play in one word? Like a way forward here.
There are so many things that the police could have done, but the present state of the Nigerian police, they are crippled. They won't be able to do anything. With what will they do those things we're expecting from them?
Those are the hard truths. We must say a big thank you. We must say a big thank you to our guests in the studios this morning, because our time is fast spent and we have to go. I must also say a big thank you to our panelists, Barrister Yomi Ogunola, and of course Professor Remi Ayede, and of Mr. Eze Harrison, former DSP. I must also say a big thank you for being here. And to all our callers and those who watch us live on our socials, we say a big thank you. And those who gave us feedback on the program, we also say a big thank you. My name is Gbolabo Famous School. Join us again next week for another interesting edition. Bye for now.
You're tuned in to 32 FM 94.9.